a big enough pipeline, if you're not constantly generating business, like if you're not constantly generating contacts and qualifying your prospects, right? I think that's what Alex is also saying. Having a very clear process of qualifying your clients and saying that the first qualification for my clients is to measure their maturity towards my service. It's to say, is this client able to appreciate what you're going to do for them, number one. Number two, are they even able to absorb? So because, for example, Juliet, I don't know whether you have had challenges where you've gotten people are very, very good prospective employee, and then things went south. How do you handle, I mean, the maturity of a client to absorb your service or your value to them?
Okay, I like what Alex and Angela have said. There are no guarantees. And then people who overpromise, they are the ones who align to you.
Yes.
So, and the thing I like about Sandbox is most of the businesses here, the consultants, we've matured in our area of expertise. So even most of our costs are usually a bit around the same and a bit standardized. So when it comes to me, and I don't give guarantees, what I will guarantee is when this person lives within this certain duration of time, we'll go through this process, but we will not charge you again. And what happens as well, people forget, yes, we have this employee, but do your structures support the functioning of this person? So let's say this is a business development manager. Do they have the tools necessary to deliver what you want? Because in some companies you find they'll get into the company, there's no laptop, they don't have tools to deliver.
They don't even have the processes within the organization.
And then now they come back, they come back and blame us. Or the environment is too toxic for this person to even function.
Where is this? Where would you recruit
like
me to
too
the company?
much politics. So everybody in the company is trying to pull this person down because this person was brought by another director. So it also the factors also depend on internally what you have. Not only I get the biggest chunk of the blame, but sometimes it's internally within the company.
Okay. Yeah. So and Angela, I don't know whether this is applicable to you because the law is available to everybody. But in legal practice, is there a way that you guys measure? I'll give you an example, like in digitalization. There's a process before we even talk about digitalization. Have you even automated your services? Yeah. Are you still using paper files before we even talk about data science, for example? Yeah. So we will measure the maturity of that client to absorb our service. And there are certain clients who will say, okay, as guys, we have a Facebook page, we have a YouTube, and then we have a Twitter. But we want to be a digitalized business. We tell them, okay, that's called that's digital presence. It's great that you have an idea and you're appreciating the value of having digital presence. But that's like step 2. And how do you handle your data? And what kind of, how do you store it? How do you process it? Are you capable? Do you have the right skill sets to utilize all those things? Because, I mean, just that process, do you have like a similar parallel thing that you take through a client to understand, are they able to absorb the service that they think they need?
Okay, so I think, like speaking from my experience internally with my business, I find that a lot of people, when they come to a lawyer, already know. They come to an, they already know or expect what services that they need.
There's an option
Yes. So, and you know, okay, so you see, and that's the thing about law. So you call a lawyer, maybe
emergency purposes.
Emergency. There's always that for the emergency when something has, you know, like a contract has failed the way it was supposed to go, and now you want to sue somebody. It could also be like now when it comes to the corporate side. So maybe and then maybe
the copy and paste contract.
Yeah. So let me now look at it as corporate clients. When I look at corporate clients, there are clients who already know when they come. By the time they come and engage me, they tend to already know what the value I am bringing to them is. They already know why do I need a corporate lawyer. We're not starting from zero necessarily. But what I've also found is even when I deal with clients who might not understand what the value of having an advocate there is, it's very easy to educate, enlighten, and show them what your value is to their business. And normally, like with legal services, we find that we grow with the client. So today I will not come and tell you, come and give you this really expensive service, which really expensive service that you want to be done. And I mean, most people will grow with their lawyers. So today it may be returns, tomorrow it may be contracts. So as you get used to having an advocate who you're calling to inquire about things, then you get used to using their services. So and I think, to me, that's how I look at people absorbing our services. So you find there are two types: people who know what they want, they already know why you're valuable, and the others who you tend to teach them. So the other, for me as an advocate, I think that I can never ever say there's a client who I look at and say, you're not at the maturity level, like you don't really understand. Because then when we come to being an advocate, there are issues about representation. Everybody deserves to have an advocate, everybody deserves to have a representation and to understand how the laws affect them. So there are cases, even if it's pro bono or trying to see how to help somebody out, then there are instances that we even waive our fees simply because this person is not capable of paying the legal fees, but really requires legal assistance.
So they would be willing to pay, but they are not able.
They're not
to pay.
able to pay. They are willing, but they're not able
To pay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, Alex, I mean.
Also, that's not for everybody. If you're able to pay, you pay.
So, Alex, and I'm coming to you, Juliet, in a second. In terms of talking about, and I think we've had the importance of either helping the client to develop the process or making them aware that they need to have like a basic starting point for you to either layer your services on top. How does that play out in your?
Yeah, same. I like that. And I'd spoken about that a bit earlier when I was saying that yes, when we ask those leading questions in the questionnaire, have you ever done it? Have you started? Have you done anything about it? Sometimes it's usually to measure. There are some who've never done it, and it's okay, and you'll help them, or we'll even work with them because they already appreciate and they know they need it. But there are some who just jump in and say like, let me start using, but they've not really understood. And at a point where, as well, the way Angela said, maybe they don't have a budget, or they've not planned for it, or they've not embedded it into a part of a process, enabling it. We usually as well do that whole, let's give you a small structure, let's walk you through, these are your loopholes, this is what you can do. Go and try this. Free, yeah, go and try this if you're having some struggles, and when you understand what you need to do, then you can come back to us. Or because sometimes people come, hawajui anything, hawajai from presence, hawajai. So there's some who need it at the time, but there are some actually who just need like a training. There's, somebody like, I like that we are in with Wild, who is also a partner here, they do a boost with Facebook training. So sometimes some of those small free things that you give them, or even just a course. Juliet, I gave her a course to do search engine optimization. She just read, she started doing it on her own, because at the point, she wants to first understand, then know, okay, now I need an expert finally, because my website is new and it needs to move somewhere. Then she'll start implementing it, right? So that's how we do it as well. At least work with them. If they're having a challenge, don't be like, oh, yuck, what would I find? Let's do something at least. Let's leave you with something, a plan, strategy. And I'd like to do it our own. We have this new small series we call the Digital Makeover, where we pro bono help a small business that has been trying and wants to do something, but doesn't know the wheel and doesn't know how to. But they've invested in their business and they've tried, and you can check it out on YouTube. I think we'll drop the link below. So yeah, it's like it just helps you to go online the right way. We give you some consulting, we give you what we can, because we're also a small business, what we can afford to do it. Yeah, it will help you elevate somewhere, and we've seen some people got some value out of it, and we've made it into something part of our culture.
So, Juliet, from your, like HR is company process with a mashup of legal requirements and stuff like that. Like HR is quite a sandwich of requirements. So, how do you then walk a client, like in Alex's words, to the point where they can distinguish what they can do for themselves, and for them to appreciate the threshold at which now they need an expert?
So for us, we have a similar process, what Alex and Angela are doing. We have a small document, it's like a menu. So it's like an exam, for example. So we've classified each and every aspect of HR, all those things, legal compliance, everything. And then it's up to now the client. We sit down together for 30 minutes only, and we go through that document. So when we go through that document, the client is able to now know this is where my problems are. Because different companies have different problems. So if you come to me and we do the audit, then now we prioritize. Let's start with this first. Then when I get more money, then you can come and do for us, this other thing as well. So we have a small audit document. When we sit with businesses and we do the audit process with them for only 30 minutes.
This 30 minutes, yo. What's your 30 minutes? What's your 30 minutes thing?
Oh, okay, but I think for me, my 30 minutes thing is when I look at my process is to get the client's story.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, your clients want to be heard. They want to know that you're hearing them, you're understanding their problem. And it might be 30 minutes, it can be varied,
Yes.
but just to understand where is my client coming from, what problems do they have, and getting sort of the emotional background, the mental background, like where are you coming from? Because the problem is never as simple as I need a contract. Even a contract is much more than just what's on a paper.
Yeah.
There's expectations and what do you expect, what do you anticipate, what are the things which you look at and say this is a deal breaker. So there's so much gathering of information. So when I look at it, I like they say your 30 minutes. But for me, what I'd say my 30 minutes is to get the story from the client, let them feel heard, let them know that I'm understanding where they're coming from. And then from that point on, we're very clear. I usually have a point where you told me your story, but now I can tell you generally what solutions I can give you, but I'll also tell you how much they cost. So from that moment, we stopped having a conversation where you're expecting that now I will give you the rest of the information, like
for
what
lunch.
to do for lunch, like to give you solutions and very specific solutions. I may give you general solutions like, yeah, that's what I think you can go to court. Or, yeah, that one I think you need a contract, but I will not, but at that point I will tell you now, this is what is available for you as options, and this is how much we charge for what we do for that. Yeah, so it's very clear. So yeah, so I know there are advocates who even say at the door, like a doctor, from Blanco you pay, you pay.
It's not even even the expert telling them.
It's the reception telling them from Blanco. Consultancy, I think I've had 15,000, 8,000, 10,000 per hour, and you come in and talk to me. So if you want to come and give me all your problems, you can give me. But I think on my part of what we do, maybe that is unique, is that we want our clients to know that we hear them and understand what they're saying. So for the initial meeting, that's not something that I'd sit down and tell you,
Yeah, it sounds like there's an initial engagement process which is common, and I would say for us that would be like a digitalization maturity audit, where you help the client to understand where they are in terms of skill set, in terms of mindset, in terms of like technology tool set, where they are, so that they know, okay, so if we are going to take the next step, this is what the next step should look like, and therefore we either take it now or we step back, stop wasting your time, save everybody's time, and prepare ourselves before we can re-engage. And I feel like sometimes people feel like you've lost the client at that point. In my view, that actually is usually a very huge vote of confidence. If you have an engagement with a client, and especially when you do like consultancy and advisory, and at the same time you have an actual product or service that you offer at the back of that, sometimes you will offer advisory or strategy or that initial meeting or that initial engagement, and it becomes what actually tells the client, wait, you're not even ready to buy what you thought you were coming to buy. In a space where it's always be closing, like hard sales people, always be closing, you might be tempted to feel like I've lost that opportunity. But in real sense, what you've lost actually is you've avoided a lot of problems. Yeah? And even that client might go and probably even forget you and eventually work with somebody else. You might have lost that transaction, but you've gained a lot of credibility with that one person. But the other thing I would think is if you're always learning how clients behave, then it becomes a product opportunity for you. Because if initially you are doing just the advisory and engagement, then you start realizing, oh, so actually, okay, so for example, I know this person whose job is to help clients to organize their records. Like this person, they used to do like compliance audits and stuff like that. But they start realizing that the biggest problem, even before we do audit, where finding your files to do the audit is a big problem. This person actually started a whole business and is doing very well. He started a whole business on helping people. Let's just organize your records. Before we even start auditing them, let's organize your records properly. And he has, like, that became the first building block of his business, which has done so well. It's taking time now to get into what he initially thought. So I think people should be creative enough, and I know even in the digital space, there are people you engage and you realize, hey, these guys are so far behind there. Even just talking to them about data science, for example, or developing their own platform, it's such a big conversation. They've heard their fellow CEOs talk about it. They've seen apps out there. So when they come to you, that's what they want. But you tell them, wait, which apart from just your CRM, what other processes within your organization are automated, for example? They tell you, no, we have very good CRM. We answer questions. We even have a bot. So, but if you look at what else is a lot of the background that needs to be done, you just realize that if you walk into that place, you're walking into a hole. I'd like us to probably start wrapping up, and you can start giving us your final advice of what you have seen other people do or what you've done yourself to manage expectations around free services or extremely or an expectation of that devalues, in your words, that devalues what you offer. Alex.
Hot question. The final question, and I think I'm speaking for all creatives, is definitely understand your worth, and also sometimes they do want to talk it out, and that's okay up to a certain point where people want to talk out and hear what you can offer, but don't always be the one to offer the solution without being told, what's the way forward with this. In the end, it seems like you're only engaging me to ask me all these questions, and I'm helping you, and my service will be able to be rendered this way. So my advice would be always just also be free to ask them. Even if you miss the job because you asked, you're definitely setting the prerogative of, let's be honest, let's talk. Tell me, will I get paid? Do you have the budget, or are you just consulting me for this? And then, what is it? So also for clients, I would tell you to appreciate other people's work. Definitely, you would not also appreciate if somebody came and told you, kazi yako tu ni kufanya tu kakitu kadogo, So you don't know what these people actually do. You've never been actually in the day of the life of a photographer. They stand all day, to lie down on the floor to do all these things so that you can get angles. So you don't know what they put in. So sometimes even listen to their perspective and give them the opportunity to pitch you. Yeah, if you don't feel the value while they're pitching you, then maybe it's a conversation with the person that they should also be able to bring forward their value. But never devalue somebody's work, be it anything. In the day of the life of that person, they have done something that they know, and they are doing it correctly because they've studied or they have experience. Even if it's one day, I started graphic design yesterday. Maybe I'm not the best yet, but at least I can use the software that you can't, and that's why you've come to me. Yeah, so that's my parting shot.
And
So I think, I think I've written it down, but I'll just say generally, the first thing you need to have is be very clear about what services. Always have clarity in your relationships with your clients. Be very clear from the very beginning what you offer, how much you charge for it, so that if they are taking up your services, from that point on, they are clear about what your expectations are, and you're also clear about what their expectations are. The second thing I'll say is contracts. So I know, and I've seen a lot of businesses doing this, which is a good process, having standardized contracts for engagement. So, for example, as advocates, we have letters of appointment. So we say, you want me to be an advocate? Your advocate is okay, but kindly give me an official letter appointing me as your advocate. Then that's something written and signed that you will not be able to walk away from. But so always have a standard contract document, which may be easy for you to copy paste. Yeah, but you see, the good thing about that is beyond the deeper contractual obligations which you may enter into later on, like deeper, you might enter into a deeper, better contracts later on. But this would just be animation. This is what you're engaging me to do, especially if you have standardized services. This is what you're engaging me to do. This is the timeline. What is it? This is how long it will take. This is how much we expect you to pay for, and this is what you get at the end. So it's a very simple document that you can prepare, get an advocate to prepare for you, and then you can always use it to engage for your clients to engage you. Then the third thing I'll say is confidence. I think as entrepreneurs, one of the things that we may lack is that ability to say, I'm walking away. Like, this is, I have put onto the table everything that I can do for you and what I expect it to be. But if it is not to what you want, that's not what you want, then I am also confident to walk away, so that we also don't get to a position where we're so desperate and constantly now begin undervaluing ourselves, undervaluing our services. You need to be confident that this is how much I charge. It's on the table and it's clear. If you're not interested, then it's okay for me to walk away. Yeah, because that's maybe also another place where this perception comes in. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, what I would say is, as consultants, especially consultants are the ones who are being told to take up free services, don't accept to be paid in promises. For example, I'll introduce you to my friends, those type of things. Don't accept to be paid in kind, like food or barter trade. And then know your value as well, and also know your costs. So, for example, if you want to meet me and you want to meet me in Westlands or Syokimau, I know my costs. By the time I'm waking up and leaving the house, I've already started spending money. So if I'm coming to you as a client, you have to, you have to pay me. I make my profit, and I also meet my costs. So I think for most business owners and people who want free services, I would just tell them, just put yourself in our shoes. Would you want me, even if you're selling a cup, I tell you, let me take this cup, let me go test it. Then if I see it's right, then I'll buy it. It doesn't work like that.
Okay. So I think to try and summarize very quickly is to say, have a line that you know when it's being crossed. Yeah. And I think confidence is a great thing. And what gives us confidence, in my view, would be to have a very big pipeline in terms of the people that you are attracting, but also have a very thorough vetting process. Let those clients give you the reason why they should remain in your pipeline. Because your pipeline is already an investment. You're spending time cultivating it, developing, and moving it along. Let clients be the ones giving you the reason to remain in that pipeline. And then finally, I would say qualify yourself in. Like in sales, people are told, qualify yourself, your client. I think if we shifted our mentality to say that you should be the one qualifying yourself in, to say, is it worth my time to remain within this space? Yeah, because if you continue down that pipeline, it will waste your time. You'll eventually not get your worth, and it will damage your energy in terms of how you deliver it. You will not even deliver the best you can because you got paid what you felt you are not worth. Yeah, and I think being fulfilled, and for me, being fulfilled with your delivery is the most important part of any career, whatever a profession you're in. So we look forward to more of your comments and questions around this topic. That is Chats at the Box. We were discussing how to manage clients' expectations around free or devalued services. Thank you very much, and see you next time at Chats at the Box.